Donald Trump is doing his very best to play it cool right now. He wants you to believe, he wants all of us to believe that he has everything under control, even things that are very much out of control. His behavior kind of reminds me a bit of an arsonist who's pretending there is no fire, when he's the guy who threw the match and lit the actual fire. I mean, his actions caused the market to plummet. His actions have caused people to worry about their retirement savings and how much everything is going to cost. Of course they are. And he's doing everything possible to pretend like none of that is happening, like there is no fire at all. I mean, the guy took a long weekend. Good for him, I guess. Spending time at 2 different resorts he owns in Florida. He appeared at a Saudi-backed Live Golf tournament, and he played some golf of his own. He even posted a video of himself golfing on social media, as if to make absolutely certain we all knew where he was and what he was doing. There he is. That's the video. Nothing to be concerned about, everyone. I am so relaxed while the market tanks that I am playing golf and hanging with my Saudi buddies. A White House official described the optics of a president hitting the links while the economy was in free fall as, quote, going to a birthday party after a friend has surgery. A little weird, but that is one way to put it, certainly. Then this morning, Donald Trump's message to the American people was telling them not to be weak, not to be stupid. We got this, America. Don't be wussies. And it's not even just him. I mean, his fellow arsonists, whether they knew it or not, had a pretty clear message for the American people this weekend when they were out on Sunday talk shows. Let them eat cake. Here's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
What is your message to Americans who want to retire right now and who've just seen their lifetime savings drop significantly?
Well, Kristen, I think that's a false narrative. Americans who want to retire right now, the Americans who have put away for years in their savings accounts, I think they don't look at the day-to-day fluctuations of what's happening.
No one is looking at the day-to-day fluctuations of their savings account, says uber-rich Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And honestly, he sounds a little bit like he was prepped by the same communications staffer, maybe he was, who's been advising his colleague, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month. A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
There really is nothing like a couple of billionaires who are pretty out of touch really speaking to the fears of the American public, is there? But as Donald Trump plays golf and tweets through it and sends out guys like Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick to pretend like they relate to working people living paycheck to paycheck, it's important for you to know that these guys are kind of on a bit of an island right now. I mean, for one thing, even their fellow billionaires are freaked, for good reason. Bill Ackman, who was a big Trump backer in 2024, lashed out at the Trump administration on Twitter last night. He accused Howard Lutnick of having a conflict of interest and wanting to profit off a tanking economy. He also said that these tariffs are sending us toward a self-induced economic nuclear winter. That from a guy who just a few months ago was saying the business community was giddy with excitement about the Donald Trump administration and that growth was about to explode. That one didn't really age so well, did it, Bill Ackman? Now, as for Larry Fink, who's the CEO of the world's largest money manager, BlackRock, he said today that his fellow CEOs believe we're already in a recession. And Mark Cuban, not exactly a Trump supporter, I know, but he's a legit billionaire and someone who calls it like he sees it. And he said that if the new tariffs stay in place for multiple years and are enforced and inflationary and Doge continues to cut and fire, we will be in a far worse situation than 2008. Worse than 2008 is very, very bad, to state perhaps the very obvious. And even the cable news channel that Donald Trump watches all day long is starting to come to terms with the reality of the situation, it seems.
It is going to have an effect on Main Street. Some things will become higher priced. We will see some products actually be raised in price because companies will pass on the cost of tariffs to consumers. I would expect that. That's why you have some people saying that we could see a recession, we'll see a growth slowdown.
I mean, guys, when you've lost Maria Bartiromo, maybe you've got a bit of a problem. So pressure is building. Of course it is. Now, I'll concede that most Americans don't necessarily relate to everything Bill Ackman says or what Larry Fink says or what Maria Bartiromo thinks. but they might care about what they hear on their local news broadcasts. And what they all are talking about right now in local news broadcasts is the potential impact of these tariffs on small businesses.
The tariff roller coaster is especially challenging for small businesses.
Clothing retailers and local businesses expect to be impacted.
They know that tariffs will eventually impact their bottom line.
They're already feeling the financial pain from these tariffs.
For a specialty store, it's going to be harder for us to get these unique and interesting products because our suppliers just aren't carrying them anymore.
With the amount of product that we import, it would probably cost us $50,000 to $100,000 additional per year. That's not just something that a small business can necessarily just absorb.
This tin, my distributor already did a preemptive price raise of 7%. So I'm concerned about what a 25% tariff will do.
Now a t-shirt that, it used to be maybe $10 to make is now $15, $20 to make.
I've already seen a rise in some of those products in preparation of the tariffs hitting sooner than later.
Adding these tariffs on top of things and making it a little bit more expensive to buy, that's definitely not what we want.
See, each and every day this continues, it gets a little more real for everyone. We just heard from a lot of people that it's feeling very real for. Sure, they see the headlines about the stock market falling off a cliff. Those are very concerning. When things start to cost more, when people do check their 401ks, which I think a lot of people do, an already scary situation starts to get much scarier. And when things start to get more real for the American people, things start to get more real for the people they send to Washington. And that's really actually how it's supposed to work. Now, do Republicans in Congress all care about rising costs and retirement accounts of their constituents getting wiped out? It's my sincere hope that many of them do. But what they definitely care about is keeping their jobs. That I know for sure. And that is one of the reasons why a bill in the Senate to curb Donald Trump's power on tariffs now has 7, count them 7, you can see them all on the screen, Republican co-sponsors. Now, this bill would require that new tariffs sunset after 60 days unless Congress passes a joint resolution approving them, which they probably wouldn't do. And 7 Republicans are saying very loudly and clearly that that is a good idea. I should point out that 2 of the Republicans on that list, Thom Tillis and Susan Collins, are the 2 most vulnerable Republicans, or 2 of them, up for re-election in 2026. Again, hopefully they care about what's happening to the people they represent. That's why people send them to Congress. But they definitely care about keeping their jobs. And for Mike Johnson, a little note for you, Republicans in the House also care about keeping their jobs too. It's not just the Senate. And yet, Mike Johnson was so afraid of pushing back on Trump over tariffs that he literally gave up the power to rein him in. Last month, at the height of the government shutdown fight, Johnson snuck in a vote where House Republicans basically gave away their ability to cancel the Trump tariffs. But now, there are some Republicans in the House who want that power back. Of course they do. And some who at least want a little bit more clarity from the White House on what their actual plan is. During a House Republican conference call yesterday, Republican Congressman Darrell Issa asked if lawmakers could receive a detailed briefing from the White House about Trump's tariffs. As if to say, hey, if you guys are going to tank the economy, can you at least tell us why? What's the plan here? Congressman French Hill, who is also the chairman of the House Financial Relations Committee, said that the Trump administration has been great to work with on a whole host of issues, okay, but he's been frustrated when it comes to how the White House has operated on tariffs. You think? And one Republican in the House, Don Bacon, has said he will introduce a bill in the House that would limit Trump's ability to impose tariffs without the backing of Congress, just like the one in the Senate. So, could this move forward? Could Republicans show a spine and vote with Democrats to stop the tariffs? Some of them are showing a bit of a spine. But I'm not holding my breath because they need many more votes than that. But the point is the pressure is building. And Trump is worried enough that he actually issued a formal veto threat today about a bill, by the way, that is not yet scheduled to be voted on and does not yet have the votes to pass. But he was scared enough about what's happening in Congress right now, about the pushback he's seeing and feeling out there, that he said he'll veto a bill if it ever gets to him. But again, if Mike Johnson has his way, no tariff bill will ever get to Donald Trump's desk. It has to pass the Senate and the House, of course. On that same conference call yesterday, Johnson said Republicans should hold the line and trust Donald Trump's instincts. Don't trust the markets. Don't trust the smartest economic minds in the country who aren't all partisan. Don't trust pissed off constituents, of which there are many. Just trust Donald Trump's instincts. And then today, Mike Johnson basically repeated as much when he was being chased by reporters through the halls of the Capitol today.
I think you got to give the president the latitude, the the runway to do what it is he was elected to do.
Now, what he was elected to do, if I remember correctly here, and forgive me because maybe my memory is a little foggy, I thought Donald Trump was elected to lower the cost of living for everyone, not raise the price of everything, and tank the American economy. But that seems to be what he is intending to do. And while he's on his little island over there with Howard Lutnick and Scott Bessent and Mike Johnson, the cracks are showing and the pressure is building. It's building from the billionaire class even, and from conservative media and Republicans in both chambers of Congress. And it's definitely building among the American people. If those massive protests across the country on Saturday taught us anything, and we're going to talk about those in the show too, is that Americans are paying attention to what is happening in Washington right now and how it is impacting them. They're paying attention to what these guys are doing to our system of government and to our economy and to our way of life. And trust me, the American people are taking a note of who's blindly trusting Donald Trump's instincts right now and who is based in reality.